In the previous lectures, we created the method to generate text to the private server, so to make the network call. So far, we have the request body as an array of messages, and then we created the URL to make the call, and we created the request object, and we connected the body that we created as JSON data to the request HTTP body. Now we need to finally make the API call. So make the network API call to the local private server. Here in this case it's LM Studio that we're using. And you guys might already know how to create that type of code, so we need to create a task, right? So let task is equal to URLSession dot shared dot data task, and we need with the request, and the request would be request. Pretty straightforward. So now that we have this, the next step is to intercept that. We need to intercept the data that's coming back, the response, and if there's any error, and put this in. Okay, so we actually, there we go. Now let's make some room here and write the to check if there's any error. So if let error is equal to error, meaning that yes, if we do have any error, then we need to send the completion with this specific error. So dot failure and error, and we return. Great. So that's it for the error part. So if there's no error, then we can continue. So right below it, let's get the data. Let's check if the data is empty or not. Guard let data is equal to data. And if there's no data, then guess what? We cannot continue. So we're going to finish with a failure. And the failure would be, and let's create the error. So NS error. And the domain, let's write an error. No data received. No data received. So we have the NS error of the failure, code 0, and no user info. So we can put user info to be nil. All right, so we're closing this. Yes, so actually this needs to go here. So I need to remove this because the domain, this is part of the NS error. So I need to know to close two parentheses, this one and the one for the completion. There we go. And then we return at this point because we cannot continue. Okay, this is it. And finally, well, we gotta create the JSON for the to intercept and parse the response. So let's do this. So at this point, we have no error, and we have the data as JSON object. So we need to parse the JSON response. So do if let JSON object is equal to try JSONSerialization dot JSON object with the data, and there's no options, no need to have any options. So open and close the brackets, and we need to convert this to make sure that we know what to expect. We know that we want string and any. Why? Because we know that we're receiving the string of what that defines the key, and any value is inside of the any. All right, and put a column. So if we have that, then we can do let choices. By the way I know is that we've already worked with the response, so we know what the response looks like. So JSON object with data, so that would be JSON object, JSON object, and we look for the object called choices, and that would be, by the way, remove the options, we don't need this for now. So that would be JSON choices, and that would be as an array of strings of any. So that's for the choices. Then we have the message. And that's the important part, right? We want to capture the messages. Let's see, why is it complaining? Let's keep on going and then we'll fix if there's any other errors. So after the choices, I have the message. So let message is equal to choices dot first. So we capture the first choice, and inside of it there will be the message, and the message is a string any, and finally the content within that message. So let content is equal to message. So we get the message, and we're going to get inside of the message, we're going to get the content. So message of that content, and that's definitely a string at this point. But I'm going to do as string, and as you can see, I make it optional. Why? Because this might be empty. And open and close the curly brace, and at this point, if we do have it, then we can complete with a success, and we send the success response with the content. And if that doesn't work, then let's add a failure, which would be else completion, and inside of that completion we have a failure, so dot failure, and again there will be an NS error that we can create, and within this error we have, let's say, domain code and so on. So the domain would be invalid JSON response format. There we go. Code put 0 and user info nil, right? And we don't need to return because this is the end here at this point. And finally, since we have a do here, we need a catch. And if there's a catch, completion dot failure with the error that was provided within the do. Okay, so let me put this on the side so that it's a little bit easier to see. As you can see, we need to we have some things to fix, and it's complaining here. It's expected a bracket, so we might be missing a bracket somewhere. Let's double check this. So with data, oh yes, look here, I'm missing a semicolon options. There we go. As string any, okay. Okay, so for the choice with, it's complaining here, let choices is equal to JSON object. Oh yeah, we don't, the JSON object, it's not with, it's just JSON object. I have 2 times JSON object, so I don't need this one. I can remove it. There we go. And let me put this here. There we go. Put this here. Okay. I believe that's it. Let me see. Okay, it's still complaining. And by the way, I'm doing this on purpose because I want you to make sure that whenever we're creating something, it's never straightforward. There's always some issues, right? And I want you to make sure that you're not the only one that have to go through this. It's easy to miss a comma or something, and then it's hard to debug. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is select this if else right here. I'm going to press Command I to make it better, to make it more aligned, and here we go, that fixes it. Okay, so if you still have errors, make sure you keep looking at what I do, but that's where we are. And finally, you know, now that we have the task, well, we need to send the task. So at the end of all those curly braces, before closing the method, right here, just type task dot resume, and that's going to send the task. All right, so let me make a bit more room so that you guys can see where it opens and where it closes. From the let task, so on the same line, you send the task. Okay, and that's it for the creation of the generate text with private server. The next step would be to actually call this inside of the view controller. That's what we're going to be doing in the next lecture.